Meanwhile, on Eternia.
I don't want to go on this mission anymore. I'm sick of magic. Magic is what got all of us into this, and it was just like...
drone. Tila, will you shut up?
You know what? I am sick of this Evelyn, and Andra, you're even taking her side too, and so are you, Cringer.
What?
I am sick of all this. And you know what? I think it's because I got this haircut, and you all now know that I am a lesbian. You are all homophobic. I am sick of this besmirching of my character just because I'm a lesbian.
What? I'm a lesbian too, dear.
What? You are?
And so am I.
Andra, you're a lesbian?
I am too. I'm Orko. I'm gay.
And I'm Cringer. I'm gay too. Wait, is everyone on this mission gay?
Yes.
Wait, so that means you all just hate me because...
You're annoying.
Oh.
Wait, when did we all become gay?
Oh, I think it was when Kevin Smith took over writing it. Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
He-Man.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 189 of Comic Book Queer's Legacy. I am your host, Brett Mann, and as always, I'm joined by my gorgeous co-host, EvilJeff Rowe. How are you, EvilJeff Rowe?
I would love to be named Jethro.
You would?
No.
Like Jethro Tull?
Yeah,
Oof.
why not? I think it feels more masculine.
It's very country.
Yeah.
It's very blue collar.
When I grew up in more white trash
Greasy.
area of Pennsylvania, everyone called me Jeffy. Hey,
Jeffy.
Hey, Jeffy. Come on, Jeffy.
Hey, Jeffy, why do you move like that? You think you're a girl?
That it actually was literal things that happened. There was a time where when I was a little kid, I would take a broom and fly around because I wanted to be the Wicked Witch of the West. And I remember my one neighbor came out and grabbed the broom and he's like, only witches are girls.
What? No!
And he was like, you need to play football. And I was like, ew.
He's dead now.
He's not. Well, he almost died. My dad just called me and said that he flatlined twice because of COVID because he wouldn't get vaccinated. And he still somehow didn't die.
Oh.
Anyway,
he went from calling you out for being a little gay boy to refusing to get vaccinated. Like, how 101 does it get?
Yeah, it's pretty stereotypical. Yeah.
Jethro. That's Jethro 101. No. No ill will toward anyone named Jethro.
Know what I just realized, though, Brett?
What?
We're only, 11 weeks away from our 200th
From episode 200.
We have to do something special.
Do we, though?
Well, I mean, maybe. Yes. Should we? Maybe.
I don't know. Should we?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to focus on the now, and I want to focus on comic books and comic book television. How does that sound?
I think that sounds amazing. Let's just get right into it. Should we talk about some X-Men?
I love it. Hit the music.
I want your ex.
Come on.
Come on. So we got three X-Men books. We've got 2 books that take place in current continuity and 1 that takes place in past continuity?
Sure.
Let's go to the past first.
That's right.
X-Men Legends, number 5.
If you list most influential comic book writers that kind of made me who I am as a comic book reader and what I appreciate and what I like, up at the top of the list, not at the very top, of course, but up there is Peter David. Peter David, his whole run from X Factor, from old X Factor to Jamie Madrox's Investigations X Factor, some of my favorite comic book writing of all time.
And Peter David also did the X Factor with Danger and Cypher and Gambit.
He did all
and
the
Polaris,
He pretty
right?
much did every X Factor, I think.
Okay, let's talk about let's rank our Peter David X Factor teams. 1, 2, 3. Out of those 3, Havoc's team, Jamie's team, and
Polaris's team.
Who's your favorite?
I mean, overall, it has to be Madrox's, but he just has the length of time.
True. They fleshed out the most story.
But at the same time, it ended on kind of a dud, so it was a little bit disappointing with the whole Layla Miller. And then the whole Guido losing his soul and just a lot.
Yeah, it got a little loosey-goosey at the end there.
At the end.
Yes.
But he established a lot of things that some people... Like, do you remember how he actually made the reason Longshot was lucky is he could actually see all the different versions of how to do something?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why he was so lucky. So it was like things like that. But it's like, but people don't...
Shatterstar and Richter.
Shatterstar and Richter being gay. The absorption of his baby with Siren. I mean, all of that shit. Amazing.
When that X Factor started, it was so exciting to have a noirish Jamie Madrox to establish that his personalities each had autonomy and their own persona. Each one of his dupes, had their own personalities. It's very exciting.
Now, for me, I'm going to skip over I feel like we're going to have the same order. Number 3 would be the latest one. And it's mostly not because it was bad, but just because it was only like 12 issues. So it didn't have enough of a run. But that one was still hilarious. It had Scarlet Witch showing up for a lot of it. Danger. There was a Danger, Cypher, Warlock love triangle. Gambit and Polaris trying to lead a team that was like led by an evil corporation. It was fun. It was really fun.
It was fun.
Run. Number 2, which is the original X Factor run. So when X-Men number 1 came out, still to this day, highest comic book selling of all time. Nothing has still beat it. When X-Men number 1 came out, the original X Factor, all the original X-Men, and the Uncanny X-Men all joined together. So who is now going to be X Factor? Well, it is going to be this new team of Polaris and Havoc, Wolvesbane, Madrox, and Strong Guy. And Quicksilver.
Really coming out of Extinction Agenda.
Yes.
Right? Wouldn't you? Yeah.
And because of his Extinction Agenda, Madrox, Havoc, and Polaris had just stopped being possessed by Malice. Havoc had just gotten over his brainwashing from Genosha. And Rain was turned into a mutate and can only be her true self when she is in her half-wolf form, which we will get to the comic that I feel like Peter David forgot this part when writing his X-Men Legends book. But I will say this, when I first read it, I remember the art was Larry Stroman, and it was very weird very
distinct.
Art.
Weird jaws.
And also at the same time, this is the first time I remember seeing like just straight up comedy. Like Madrox and Strong Guy were just like all they were one-liners. And it was like the way Strong Guy's named himself, where they were at the briefing where they were introducing X Factor. And then they're like, and he's like, I'm Strong Guy. And they're like, you can't fucking call yourself Strong Guy. He's like, whoa, too late, I did. I just remember reading that as like a teenager being like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever read. I loved it.
There is a cool thing about Alex Summers where like Alex Summers cannot keep teams together. He's always surrounded by idiots, it feels like, which is part of the Alex Summers narrative.
Yeah, and it's kind of
happening now.
on in Hellions, exactly.
Yeah. The first thing this X-Men Legends number 5 reminded me of is my long-lost love, Val Cooper, who was X Factor's government liaison, because this team was a government-sponsored team after all.
Yes. And Val Cooper was the de facto, all right, here's where your next mission is, here's where you're going.
Yeah, she was
handling all the
Waller.
PR.
Yes, yeah. But she was no nonsense. You didn't know which side she really fell on. But I do love me some Val Cooper. Great to see her in this, what I think is a flashback story about this original X Factor team by Peter David. Now, it takes place in a courtroom, and I thought immediately it was going to be kind of an analog to that iconic old X Factor issue where they were all on Doc Samson's therapy couch talking. It is probably one of the best single issues of a comic ever, of an X comic, maybe just a comic in general. I thought this was going to be them on the witness stand as opposed to the therapy couch, it wasn't exactly that. It's more of a framing device than
That's
the
telling
actual
the story. Yeah.
Right. A lot of the story's told in flashback.
And it all takes place, and it's basically like a mutant group in Latveria rebelling against the Doom government.
And I like that. It reminds me of in Dawn of X, when I think Fantastic Four X-Men, when they go to Latveria to free mutants and see that Doom abuses, marginalizes mutants. So I can see these mutants rising up back then.
And the irony here is that America is like, hey, you need to go in and stop the terrorists. But then they're like, but the terrorists are trying to stop Doom. So it is very foggy of whose side who is the right side.
Yeah, and where will public opinion fall? The Avengers and the Fantastic Four in this story want no part of this because of that
they feel there'll
muddy
just be
public
backlash
opinion.
no matter what.
Yeah, smart. So give it to X Factor.
And it looks like Rain, who could be turning to human, which was like, she can't do that yet. But whatever, we forgive it. And my only thing that's weird is I'm like, but you, honey, you were writing it. Like, you were writing it when this was happening. I could understand.
I know,
if
it's not like you're another writer.
It's like you kind of created that whole thing. But whatever, forgive it. Rain is about, like, they're all planning. They jump in, don't tell Alex or Polaris, like, what the plan is. They're like, what are you doing? Oh, we're just going to attack. And they're like, what are you doing? You're fucking up. They're like, no, we're just a diversion. Rain is in there to save the day. And, of course, Rain remembers eating her dad. Fucking falls apart.
Always.
Ghost of her dad that she ate. And then it causes her to get caught.
So that was my question in terms of continuity. Had she already eaten her dad? I thought that happened in Black Ops X-Force. No?
I thought she just was remembering back that had happened and that she had done it like a while ago. Or did it happen actually in the comic?
I thought continuity-wise it happens after this adventure takes place. I thought it happened in the Black Ops X-Force, which was way after this.
So it happened like in the actual comic, her eating him.
Yeah, but maybe she mauled him or something.
But for some reason, I thought...
Prior.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. This isn't canon.
It's loosey-goosey.
This is just like, hey, remember this team? This is fun.
Remember how fun this team was? And I think where that fun comes back is when you see Guido Carosella and Jamie Madrox kind of springing into action. I forgot what a great dynamic those two had.
Yeah.
Do you remember X Factor 100 where Jamie dies, quote unquote, at the hands of, what was her name, Haven? She was trying to fix him of the legacy virus?
Yeah.
It was intense.
But was he supposedly really dead after that?
Oh, Lord. It's Jamie Madrox.
No, I know, but I mean, how long did he stay dead? Because then there was also he gets killed. In the first few issues, he gets killed. And then it turns out there's another dupe. And then it's like, oh, wait, but I'm the real dupe. And then you're the fake. There was so much of that going out throughout his whole entire run.
So many times.
I need to reread it. I read it not too long ago, but it's already, like, out of my brain. I don't remember any of it.
I should reread it, too.
It's good.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some real, like the real world.
Yeah, let's get to the Krakoan era of X-Men because we love it. New Mutants?
Let's do it.
New Mutants number 20. Vita Ayala and I don't know who drew it this time. Ooh.
It looks like in the New Mutants, the new Resurrection team. The new little teen resurrection.
The Ugly Kids.
The Ugly Kids, the Uggos.
Yeah, we'll just call them the Ugly Kids.
They find Scout's dead body and they decide we have a feeling they're not going to resurrect her because of the clones. So how about we just do it ourselves? We know how to resurrect a body. We just need to get the Cerebro back up.
Right.
And they're like, we're not going to tell anyone. We're not even going to tell the Shadow King. We're just going to do it on our own. And then No Girl takes... Oh, and this is the one thing that it realized, is No Girl has officially, and it hadn't been said up until this issue, she had officially requested to... Like, they rejected her getting resurrected.
Which is cruel.
Cruel. They were like, oh... You can get resurrected because of a fucking, like, paper cut. Karma.
Right. Well, I mean, dead brother stuck in her brain. That's big. I guess they just put their foot down when it's for aesthetic reasons.
I feel not having a body is more than an aesthetic reason. Denying someone to not have a body, that's cruel.
That's cruel. Xavier fucking did it so he could walk.
Yeah.
By the way.
Honestly, if I was No Girl, I'd be like, fucking stab me in the head. Kill me.
And don't use a needle, because that doesn't work. I've got 8 here already.
Yeah,
they
like
do
fucking
nothing.
stab me in the head. But she possesses Scout's body and is moving it around. And basically, she is angry.
She's so angry, which it was really hard to read. Not that hard to read, but it was hard to read because I've always known Martha Johansson to be kind.
And I think
particularly in Morrison's run.
But I think she is kind. But then when this Krakoa thing happened,
but
she just fucking bitter McBittersons. Because if you look at all, but that's the other thing you realized. This is how, like, cults are formed. You take people that have these insecurities and you put them together and it fuels. They're kind of, all of them, Anole, all of them were nice people. And then together, they're, like, breeding this contempt. And how much of it is just them together, or how much is the Shadow King influencing them?
Right.
How much
and
of
how
this
much of
hatred
the
is
Shadow King? Yes, but how much of it is easier because they're feeding off one another, and you can fuel it with group. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're right, they all used to be very kind. And this is where I continue down this road of this is like a drug addiction analogy, this whole story arc. They're getting worse and worse in terms of disconnecting from their community.
Yeah.
I mean, Anole is a real shit these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rainboy, I used to love Rainboy probably if I remembered who he was. But
now we've always hated Cosmar, but you know, that's
always hated Cosmar, but that's because she's so ugly. I was kidding. Oh my god. Terrible. No, they all deserve better. And I like that Vita is pointing out, yes, we have this perfect society, but we are still marginalizing people who are physically different from us. Even here,
and you know what? And that's the whole thing is like, yes, everybody's beautiful, but that's the thing. I'm not against plastic surgery because if that's your thing, then do it. You have the freedom to do it. And that's the thing is if these people have the opportunity to look the way they want to look, why are you denying it from them?
Right. It's not even like they're asking to cut the resurrection queue, which evidently anyone can do.
Yeah. Literally, it's just like if you have an in with Xavier or with the Five, like give me a fucking break. I will say with Rain, hers is a bit different because the reason they're not doing it is they have to have the proof of death. And I do feel that was a little bit different. That they don't have proof that her son is dead. So
if I were Rain, I'd get off my ass and find the proof.
Yeah, or fake it.
Or fake the proof.
But instead, she's at a bar hanging out with Shadow King. And I will say this. I was saying, like, I want to know what Karma has to think about this, since she was possessed by the Shadow King and became, like, morbidly obese and had to go into a desert on Asgard with a phantom little girl to lose the weight. That's the diet of the century.
That is the new fad diet. Follow this girl into
Follow
the desert.
Phantom Girl into the desert and just live off of lizards until you can lose the weight. Oh my God, Asgardian Wars. God, that was good. I loved Asgardian
Good.
Wars.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
What is it? Art Adams doing the art? Ugh.
Yes. Art Adams, quintessential New Mutants artist.
Yes. No one
is
drew
hanging out with Shadow King.
magic better. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No one. No, and I always think of Danny Moonstar Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Rain, yeah, she doesn't want to hear it from Karma. Karma's like, listen, I have history with this guy. I'm saying, your new boyfriend, I dated him for a while myself, and he's abusive and he's shitty, and you got to dump him. And she's like, I didn't want to.
But she's basically like, you and fucking Danny pick and choose who you care about, when you want to care about, when it fits your fucking agenda. So why don't you get the fuck out of my face, you motherfuckers?
And also, why don't you fucking help me find this proof for my son? That's why Rain's not doing it. It's because she asked her friends if she would help, and her friends they were busy, but they still ignored her.
Yeah. And I do think it is that thing where it's like, ugh, Rain, here we go again.
Oh, it's just Rain being Rain. She's so dramatic.
Yeah. And it's just like, fuck off. And so she's off with Elixir, because wasn't it in New X-Men? Was it her and Elixir that were fucking around?
Ooh, I don't remember.
In the X-Men, she came back to teach, and she had an affair with a student, and I think it was Elixir. Or was it Hellion? Was it Hellion?
Ooh.
No, I think it was Elixir. Yeah.
Rain did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the whole, like, Sophia, like, Wind Rider, Hellion, Mercury, like, all of them. I think she had an affair with Elixir. And then, basically, she was kind of, like, Danny was like, I think you need to, like, leave the school. And she, like, drives off in a motorcycle. It was very, like, unlike Rain. It was very unlike her. She was very, like, slutty. And the person writing it just was, like, not getting her character. But they did kind of revisit that, where she's kind of with Elixir, like, hey, what's up, Elixir? So she has her own agenda, clearly being influenced by the Shadow King. The kids have their own agenda, trying to, like, sneak past. I love that Cosmar is able to get through Proteus's cosmic barrier.
Yeah, little reality warper magic herself.
But then, of course, Rain is the one that catches them. But clearly in the next issue, she's going to be like, yeah, let's do it. I'll help. Fuck these people.
Fuck them.
You just need to do it. You need to be able. We need to do it with my kid.
I'll be the leader of the ugly kids.
Yeah.
Just get my kid back. And I love how Martha was like, I got your number, Dakin.
Oh, okay. The fight with Dakin.
Holy shit. As Scout, Dakin thinking he's talking to Scout, it's really Martha, going off. You don't care about me neither.
I love where she's like, of course, coming from a murderer, you think that being family means you would kill, like I would care if you would kill for me. She's like, I'd rather have you fucking be there for me when I needed you than for you to kill 1 million people, you fucking murderer.
The library is open.
Like, fuck. There was a lot of truth spilling. It was a lot of truth spilling in this episode, this issue.
Yeah, a lot of reading. It was good. It's good.
Yeah, it's fun. How about some Marauders?
Ooh, all right. How about the light read that is Marauders number 22 by Jerry Duggan and Stefano Caselli?
When you have to work with an abuser.
Jesus. I mean, it's fantastic. And that's right. When you have to work with a known abuser like Sebastian Shaw, you're going to have to navigate it in ways that help the abused, which we find out is exactly what Emma Frost once did.
Yeah. And the thing that's crazy is I have a feeling there's a point where we see that Sebastian is walking again, and apparently they reached a deal that she would let him heal up after the Hellfire Gala, and now he can walk. Yeah. And then Xavier is like, hey, we need to talk. And this is a very interesting conversation, because I feel this conversation, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think Xavier is now privy to everything that went down. What do you think?
Yeah, he did say about Lourdes Chantal, I understand she was somebody who used to be in the Hellfire Club, was romantic with Sebastian. He's been wanting to resurrect her because she died. I personally wasn't familiar with her. That was telling. Mm-hmm. But I looked into it, and are you going to tell him, or am I, to Emma? So when he looked into it, what does that mean?
I think he meant when he decided to do a cerebro scan.
Yeah.
He saw that she was alive.
But then I guess he just assumed that, like, so Emma, you definitely did something here.
Yeah. But that's why...
To protect her.
Yeah. And so I think... But I also think he is... And that's the thing, is clearly they're all like... Like, I also just love that he knows that she has been fucking with Sebastian Shaw from day one. And he's just like, carry on. Like, he's just like, I'm... Just keep doing what you're doing. I kind of love the trust that Xavier has in her. So I'm very interested in when it turns to Inferno.
Yes.
Where she's going to be like, oh, you're lying to me? Oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm very interested of how everyone's going to react. Like, personally, I feel like when Emma finds out, Marva is going to be like, no. And Xavier's going to be like, no, she's good. Come on in. Let's bring her in on this. That's what I personally think.
Right. Maybe.
Or is Emma going to get in cahoots with Mystique?
Maybe that too. Although I think Mystique did pose as Emma to get those logic diamonds. I think Mystique murdered Christian Frost and burned the Marauder. So the likelihood of Emma Frost and Mystique being in cahoots, they seem slim to me.
Okay, good. I don't want that.
But Xavier sure does trust Emma.
Yeah.
And what I love is, considering Emma Frost's and Sebastian Shaw's history, and considering Emma Frost's powers and personality, are we surprised she's been fucking with Sebastian Shaw in ways like this? No. Give me more of this. It makes total sense. What else has she been hiding from him?
But it's interesting where I am interested, where she's basically is like, you're an awful person and you're an abuser, so she's alive and she fucking hates you and that's why it happened. And that really seemed to like affect him, where he kind of had to realize like, wait, but I thought it was true love. And the whole time she was just scared of me and was willing to pretend to be dead to get away from me. I think that really fucked with his head.
I hopefully think that affected some change in him.
But will he try to find her?
Probably. Oh, that's a great question. My instinct is probably because he's a fucking abuser asshole. But if this did change him, maybe he knows to leave her well enough alone.
But that also makes me realize the way that she got her out was she was working for Kingpin. Yes!
And doing some pretty nasty stuff that she doesn't want to talk about.
She was fixing people. So what the fuck does that mean? Was she just erasing memories and stuff like that, do you think?
Probably. What I love about this issue is we are reminded that Emma Frost has done some horrible shit in her past. There is being a fixer for the Kingpin. There is murdering a bunch of treacherous humans that were about to sell out the Hellfire Club. I mean, granted, they were about to sell out the Hellfire Club and kill all mutants, so the Hellfire Club killed them in kind. But we did see Emma Frost in a shower washing tons of blood off of her and a pile of human bodies.
Yeah. But that's the thing, but you have to look at it, but that's the thing. Emma Frost has never killed, and I will even do this with the horrible Inhumans thing. She has never killed to simply gain power. She has always killed to protect people in danger. And I think that is just, when you look back at any time she has done something horrible, it is either to protect her students. Like when she killed her sister, it was to protect Generation X. Like every single thing you look in the past, it has always been out of protection.
Yes. More about this trust. The odd place of trust that Xavier and Emma are in, that Emma and Shaw are in, to be able to look at Sebastian Shaw, who lately she's been kind of getting along with, like hanging out with casually.
Yeah.
After a few issues of that, to look at him after telling the truth about I made you see the woman you abused die. She's actually, and then I brought her to safety. And then at the end of all that, for her to say, I hate you, but this place is better and bigger than all of us. All of these characters being absolutely candid with one another and transparent with one another because there is now a bigger picture that they are all a part of. It's fascinating.
Well, that's the other thing with her and Xavier is they also have a very special. I think the part of that bond is I'm going to go back to X-Men Legacy. Do you remember the fight between Emma and Xavier? Like about 10 years ago?
In X-Men Legacy, that was the Rogue and Legion book?
Well, no, but there was a period where it was more where there was a little period where it was just Xavier. It was just about Xavier.
Yeah. When
this, it actually, he basically was confronting Emma. He didn't trust her as a leader. And she's like, I have your fucking number. And she reveals when Rogue joined the team, you psychically fucked with her and you psychically fucked with everyone to make sure that she would go on the team.
Oh, shit.
And he was like, oh, you know that? And so she's like, you have done so much shit and betrayed people's intimacy and trust that you have no play. Like, she literally was going through his memories, being like, I know this, and I know you did this, and I know you did this, so shut the fuck up. And it was kind of like, what? Like, and it was kind of a weird thing, because when you look back when Rogue joined the team, they were all like, no. And even she was like, no. And he actually, they retconned it, where it's like, no, he psychically fucked with all their heads so that they will all go forward with it.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she kind of like, I have your number, but we're going to still have to work together. I think he knows, I think in the end, he knows that she has the greater good. The greater good is like the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But, fuck.
And we'll see.
When does Inferno come out? When does it come out?
Oh, not till like end of August. And we'll see if, is Emma going to step up as kind of the leader of this nation? If she's helping take down Xavier Magneto, whatever that cover of her holding the helmets indicates, whatever. Are we going to see Emma Frost rise to power or establish more trust in this community?
It's crazy.
Love that we're going to resurrect Harry Leland.
Yeah.
The data page, because his powers are
gravity,
particularly effective. Right? Yeah, particularly effective against Nimrod, as are Shinobi Shaw's. And they're talking about mutant circuitry between Harry Leland and Shinobi Shaw as a way to take down Nimrod.
And what's Shinobi Shaw's powers again?
It's like, isn't it density and like hyperdensity or phasing?
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, so then they're going to try and see if their powers together can kind of form like a mini black hole. Because that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do originally. And honestly, if you're just people with 2 gravity powers, that's black hole. Sounds like black hole to me.
They're going to try to black hole him.
I'd like to get a Nimrod's black hole.
I think Harry Leland he never had a mutant name. May I recommend Glory Hole? Oh yeah, remember Shinobi Shaw committed suicide by putting his own hand in his face?
Oh right,
during Rosenberg's run. Wild.
They
the
never
countdown to
really. I
Inferno
will say though,
begins.
they never really followed through on the Shinobi Shaw stuff.
Right. Like, does he hate?
Because he was under the assumption that Kitty and Emma killed him.
Yeah.
I'm curious if like that's still something. If they just dropped it, or if they're still waiting to pay it off, or.
Yeah, or maybe Shinobi's like, oh please, you think I believe my father?
Yeah. But let's get some Kitty. And also, has she discovered that Christian is dead?
Has she discovered Christian is dead yet? Do we know why Kitty can't walk through gates yet?
Well, that's the thing what was the reason why she wasn't being resurrected?
It was because of her powers. She needed to do something different from everyone else.
Her powers were preventing her from cracking through the egg.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's the one thing is I was like, isn't that the key to figuring out the gates?
Right, and maybe it is. Maybe it's connected. It was more.
But
it was
she
kind
still
of like
can't do it.
Don't break through, phase through kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I still want it to be Dougie. I still want it to be Dougie telling Krakoa, "Don't let her through. I'm mad at her. She broke my heart." and now that he's married, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm over that. Oh yeah, totally. Oh, she hasn't been. Yeah, no, open the gates."
Honestly, that would be hilarious if it turns out in
hilarious.
The end, it was just like a bitter.
It was just Dougie being like, "She's mean. She was mean to me last time we talked to her."
I so want it to be that.
Oh, I hope it's that. Jerry Duggan, I know you're listening.
Well, I think we can talk about some other comics this time. We read some other comics.
Hit it.
You gotta get a comic if you wanna get ahead.
All right. Let's go to an enchanted world, shall we? Into a comic that we've been reading and we've been highly recommending called Wind. Yes, from what's his name? Tinian?
James Tinian the Fourth, who, by the way,
yes,
EvilJeff, here's some news that came out of Comic-Con at home. The Eisner Awards were announced, and James Tinian the Fourth won Best Writer.
In general or for specific?
They listed all of his current works: Department of Truth, Wind, Something is Killing the Children.
Yes, all great.
Deserved.
Wind, basically we have a prince who is escaping his kingdom to kind of give the crown to his uncle, who can reunite the humans and the fairies and create a peace so that they can battle the evil vampires.
Correct.
And this whole entire time, basically, they're just being chased by the vampires. The vampires have submarines, blow them out of the water. The vampires are now chasing them into the woods and following them.
An enchanted forest.
The fairy people
can smell their blood.
The fairy people kidnap Wind. That's his name, right? That's the main character's name.
Yes.
They kidnap Wind, and she's like, "You killed my mother." But then she gets over it.
Yes.
And she's like, "All right, I'm sorry."
Yeah, she is a fairy princess, essentially. She seems to be royalty among the fairies. And it was her mother who was the fairy that helped Wind and his crew escape Pipetown. The mother died during that escape. And the daughter blames Wind for the mother's death, so she kidnaps Wind, but then rescues his friends, gets over it pretty quick, just like you said. And now they're just hanging out in Fairy Town.
But she also gives the real history of how this whole world that they live in was kind of formed. Because we know there's like an east, a west, a north, and a south, and there's vampires, there's fairies, there's humans, and then is there a fourth?
I don't think so, but there are the four winds. The north wind, the east wind, the west wind, and the south wind. They're kind of gods.
The winds are the gods, and then they kind of created these original humans that had wings, very similar to Wind. And they were these basically like these angels, and then these two sisters went off on Earth to kind of like discover everything, and they went off in separate directions, and one came back a vampire and one came back a fairy, and the vampire, of course, she was evil and like betrayed everyone, and everyone kind of took sides. All the angels took sides, and they lost their wings and either became like the fairies or became like the vampires, and there's technically aren't any of those original fairies left. Original angels left, and Wind seems like he is somehow one of those angels.
And they also mentioned that humans came way later,
Yeah.
after the vampire fairy split.
Yeah.
But yes, no one knows what happened to these original angels, if there are any left. But Wind seems to be one.
And they've also introduced the cousin of the prince, who's like, oh, well, if you give up the throne to your uncle, my dad, I'm going to be the new prince, and then I will be the future king. And he's a very weird one, where he's very cocky, but he also seems very good. And I
Very kind,
but I'm
yeah.
always like, is that a ruse? Is it a fake? Is it a red herring? Should I trust him? Should I not? There's something where I'm like, he seems too good to be true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'll fix you. I have medical skills. Or, let me be the moral compass of this particular scene. Yeah, a little too good to be true.
And his assistant is a non-binary character.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone
Who is
who refers by
wonderful.
they. Yeah, like
They
kind of like
love to
yeah.
help, and they love to sketch creatures that they see. Just a wholesome person.
And kind of like a nerdy science person.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're gathering this fun cast of characters. I'm also just curious of where are the romances leading? Who is going to end up with who? I feel like the sister of Wind, the kind of adopted sister of Wind, I feel like her and the new prince kind of have a weird thing going on, maybe.
Yep, I agree.
There's still the love triangle between Wind, the big muscly guy, and the prince. I'm curious of like whether the non-binary character coming in is going to somehow enter any of this love triangle at any point. I'm just curious. I'm you know me. I need to know the soap opera of it all. I'm curious.
Yeah, and they're really good about having this fantasy adventure, but with this undercurrent of soap opera, of romance, triangles, heartbreak, all of it. One thing about Thorn, who is the big muscly guy that Wind is in love with, who is with the kind of rotten-ish prince who's on the run, he has been gravely injured. He was fixed by the prince's cousin, who's going to one day take over the throne, but the fairies took Thorn away to heal him, and the fairy princess said it will leave an indelible mark on him, but he will be healed. So Thorn is going to go through some transformation. He's going to be fairied up a little bit.
I love a big
I'm
muscle.
very excited.
I love a big muscle fairy.
Right? Who doesn't love a big muscle fairy?
And I love just how beautifully gay it is.
It's just a queer triumph.
I want to talk about a book that I didn't even tell you I was reading.
Oh my God! This is highly irregular.
So Rainbow
Rowell?
Rainbow Rowell.
Never heard of her.
She, my sister told me, hey, did you know there's this like gay Harry Potter book? And this is just a book, it's not a comic. And she's like, yeah, it's this person named Rainbow Rowell. And I'm like, what? She writes the Runaways. I read all of that. So I just in one day, it's like a super quick read. And there's 2 more books after that I have not read yet. But it's called Carry On. And it's Rainbow Rowell. And it literally is just like, this is my version of Harry Potter. It's very clearly a complete homage. Like everything is like a different version of Harry Potter. The only thing is, imagine rather than being like a sorting hat, the sorting hat doesn't put people into houses. It just puts roommates together. And so imagine if Harry Potter and Malfoy were forced to be roommates together and they hate each other and he's the chosen one and Malfoy is from the rich family that's supposed to kill Harry Potter. And the first half of the book is from the Harry Potter boys' perspective. And it's basically like, I hate this guy, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. And then it just cuts to the Malfoy perspective. And it opens up with, I hate him and I'm going to have to kill him one day. God damn, I wish I wasn't totally in love with him.
Oh my God, it's your jam.
Yes.
It is your thing.
But the crazy thing is, it's halfway through the book, and you're like, what?
Oh, I love it.
What? And it turns out that the Malfoy character is bitten by a vampire. So he's a vampire. And so he's like evil, but like in love with him. And then the Harry Potter guy, it's just like Harry Potter, he's an idiot. Like, he just can't do anything. Like, he's just bad. Like, he's the chosen one, and he's all powerful, but he sucks. And he's awful.
Wow.
And basically it is like they are forced to go on like a mission and they like kind of end up falling in love. And it's like really sweet and it's really well written. It's like,
I think
it would like, it's called Carry On, Rainbow Rowell. You can read it. You can read it in a day. It's super fun. I probably will read the next books after it.
That reminds me of a story I'm into that I didn't tell you about, where it takes place in a boarding school, and there's this guy who like sleeps around. He's bisexual. He sleeps around all the time, and he's friends with this couple, and they're all super popular in this school. And the girl, a straight couple, the girl in the couple is all into the guy, and actually she can't come when she's having sex with her boyfriend unless she thinks of the other guy.
Wait, is this a book?
No, it's not a book. Okay. So recently, the boyfriend from the straight couple and the bisexual guy were in a bathhouse together because the bisexual guy asked him to go to this bathhouse with him so he can have sex with this other gay guy who he knew was going to be in the bathhouse. And then he was like, oh, we have to do something to make that guy jealous. And so all of a sudden, the straight boyfriend starts making out with the bisexual guy and gets a mad boner. And you realize not only is the straight girlfriend obsessed sexually with the bisexual guy, so is the straight boyfriend. Thank you so much, episode 2 of the new Gossip Girl.
Oh, that's what Gossip Girl is about? Shit.
Yes, talk about a queer triumph.
Guess I need to watch Gossip Girl now. Fuck.
You need to watch Gossip Girl now.
Threesome.
Yeah, it's hot. The guy that is the bisexual guy, he actually was in the Descendants 2 and 3. He was Captain Hook's son.
Right.
He is the hottest thing on the planet.
Oh, I can't wait to watch. That's what also saying everybody on TikTok is talking about that. There's that one show where it's like watch episode 3 at 19 minutes in on Netflix. I think it's called like Sex something.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's called like Sex Life.
Okay.
And it's like and it's always TikTok has a whole thing where it's like people's reactions. And literally there's a guy in the shower who has a full on like 10-inch penis. Like, and it just turns around and you're like, holy shit. Fuck. And then the irony of it is a girl in the cast in real life has divorced her husband and is now dating that guy.
Ooh, I bet.
You're like, someone got dickmatized.
I mean, she is no dummy.
Well, what other comics have we been reading?
We have one more comic we read, and I'm so happy we get to say this. We haven't said this in so long. Ew. We read a DC book.
Ew.
Ugh. Ew. See you next Tuesday, DC, because they come out on Tuesdays now. We read Superman and the Authority #1. Why? Because it's Grant Morrison, one of my faves.
Yeah.
So I had to pick it up.
And here's the thing. I tried reading Brian Michael Bendis' Superman run.
Yeah.
Boring. Couldn't keep up with it. I've tried reading a bunch of different Superman runs. Couldn't give a shit. How is it that Grant Morrison can make me care about Superman in like 3 pages?
I mean, that's why I picked it up, is because Grant Morrison did All-Star Superman, my favorite Superman story of all time. And The Authority was also, I mean, that was Warren Ellis. And it was Mark Miller also. Grant Morrison touched it for like a hot second, but I always did like The Authority. I always did like that team. So while I was so pleased to see and read Grant Morrison writing Superman again, I was dismayed that it seems like he's forming an authority, and it is not the authority that the characters I hoped we would see in this book.
Who was in the original Authority?
It was Jenny. Well, Jenny Sparks became Jenny Quantum. It was the Doctor. It was Jack of what was his name? Jack of Cities. It was the like the Hawk Girl kind of girl. I forget her name too. And it was Apollo and Midnighter, our favorite gay couple. Mm-hmm. And I think the robot lady. I forget all of their names. Oh my goodness! But it was robot lady. It was a guy that was designed
Rosie from
to
the
navigate
Jetsons?
cities.
It was Rosie from the Jetsons. Mr. J, Superman needs me.
Yeah, but they're awesome. Oh my god, I'm gonna look up their names and be like, oh yeah. But it seems like Superman in this book is trying to create a new authority so he can finally, in his kind of golden years, finally do the thing he failed at doing, which was fix the planet.
Well, the thing I like is there's a completely different universe where Superman came a lot earlier. And this is one thing I found confusing is then he's mentioned how he was like hanging out with King Arthur.
Probably through like time travel.
Okay, I was going to say,
right?
But then I was like, but he still was born in Kansas, so I was a little confused by that. But but I do like the idea that no, Superman was a thing like in the 50s and 60s, and now he's old. And now he's old and he's losing his powers. It's kind of like what was that, Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
Where the main Batman is not, Bruce Wayne is just sitting back all old and making...
Yeah, he's like the man in the chair.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so Superman recruits his first character, who honestly is a character I was never familiar with because I don't read DC. What's his name? Manchester Bill?
Black?
Manchester Black, who is in like the Supergirl TV show, by the way.
Yeah.
When I looked up Manchester Black, I was like, oh, he's in the Supergirl TV? Okay. So an anti-hero who was then straight up a villain, but now this iteration is being recruited by Superman to be an anti-hero once again.
Yeah,
psychic, telekinetic. It's fun.
They also mentioned Superman has a son, so I'm like, where's that? Where's he? So I'm kind of interested in all of that. So it's fun. I like it.
Superman is written so well under Grant Morrison's pen because Grant Morrison will never ever let go of the Boy Scout who just wants to do good as the core of the character.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, after the DCEU and everything we've seen, it's just so refreshing. In fact, like when Man of Steel came out, there was a lot of people posting that panel from Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman where the girl is going to jump off the building and Superman stops and talks her down.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying, that's Superman, not the guy that let his father die in the tornado.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. This is only a 4-issue limited series, but anytime I can read some Grant Morrison, writing some Superman, I shall do that thing.
But I think
Superman's very strong.
Superman's very strong.
Sorry, I just landed on a segue. On a segue. Superman is very strong. You know who else is very strong?
Who?
He-Man.
All right, let's get into a new television show. Hit it.
Okay, so are you sure you don't want to just talk about Gossip Girl?
No.
We're going to talk about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Revolutions.
He-Man, the show that is... show about He-Man is not about He-Man.
It's not about He-Man,
it's
everybody.
About
Teela. Literally thought, and I just want to put this out there. It's not a spoiler. It's a spoiler of what doesn't happen. Literally thought this was going to end with Teela being the new He-Woman.
No, that's
and
She-Ra.
I would have been all for it.
That's She-Ra.
But then that's She-Ra. We already have that. It's She-Ra. But this He-Man, so this is a Kevin Smith original. It is a sequel. It takes place after the original cartoon.
Yeah.
And it sees a grand attack on Castle Grayskull by Skeletor kind of change the game for these characters.
Well, it changes the game because in this attack, not only does Teela finally don't tell the girl who's really... Don't tell the girl that I'm really He-Man. We'll just tell the boys.
Just tell the boys. And
she
the
discovers... Yeah, she discovers that He-Man is Prince Adam, but she discovers it as he sacrifices himself to save magic, save Eternia, and kill himself along with Skeletor.
I was shocked because the cartoon started very He-Man.
What do you mean started very He-Man? It literally is a shot-for-shot remake of the original opening.
Oh, sure, yeah. But like when it got into the dialogue, like that first attack on Castle Grayskull,
I was convinced it was going to be.
wholesome.
I thought it was going to be the sorceress was going to be killed. Didn't that seem like that was what's
I didn't think anybody was going to be killed. I didn't think anybody was going to be killed. I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be like hokey He-Man, and then He-Man straight up puts his sword through Skeletor, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now this is the grown-up stuff.
This is the grown-up stuff, and that opens a key. So Skeletor was standing in front of this rock in the center of Grayskull deliberately, knowing that He-Man would kill him. I'm shocked that he knew that would happen because He-Man's never tried that before. The sword goes into the stone. It opens up this magical chamber where the source of all of Eternia's magic is exposed. And Skeletor wants it.
It's basically like a scrotum, and they cut open the scrotum.
Yeah.
And the balls are just like flying.
And the balls are just like, we are the magic of Eternia. And then He-Man takes the balls in, balls deep. And so basically, Skeletor was going to threaten all of Eternia with this magical power source. He-Man absorbs the magic, killing himself, killing Prince Adam, his alter ego, and killing Skeletor. So Teela not only finds out, she not only has to deal with the death of He-Man and the death of Prince Adam, it's when she finds out that Prince Adam was He-Man.
Yeah.
It's also when the king finds out. The queen kind of always knew, the queen of Eternia, Prince Adam's mother, she kind of always knew because, mothers know.
Also because he didn't wear a mask.
She's like, you may have more muscles, but I know that cute little booty anywhere.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, at least in
the
this,
king had
they
no
made
idea.
Prince Adam skinnier. Where in the comic,
Twinkier.
in the original cartoon, he was the same.
He was just like as muscular as He-Man. So at least this I can see there being like, wow, I really never knew He-Man was Adam because he is so much bigger. And in this, like, Adam is twinkier, He-Man is beefcakier in this. My God, the muscles.
And just give a shout out. Teela is played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. So
what's up, Buff?
You gotta love that.
You gotta love that. Wait, do you know who Evelyn is? I looked it all up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. You can recognize the voice right off the bat.
Oh!
Cersei.
It's Cersei.
Cersei from Game of Thrones.
EvilJeff, when I tell you that Evelyn was my favorite part of this series. So, listeners, I have watched the whole thing. EvilJeff is 2 episodes in. Evelyn becomes more and more Emma Frost with each passing episode.
Yeah.
She starts to become funny. She starts to become kind-hearted. Like, you just realize she was always just practical, not evil. There's a whole redemption. I mean, it is nom 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 nom. It is so good.
Is there sexual tension between Teela and Evelyn?
Yes, and there's particular sexual tension between Teela and her companion, Andra.
Right.
So after the death of He-Man, there's time passage. We see Teela. She has quit the life. She does not talk to her father, Man-at-Arms, anymore. She has shaved her head into a lovely, undercut lesbian and starts hanging out with this girl. And she even says something like, some things are more important than my former life. And like looks at Andra, and Andra's like, oh my God, thank you.
She's like, I'd rather save this girl's pussy than magic.
That's right. She would.
And the other thing that's interesting is how this is being shredded by online. This is being ripped apart. And that's the thing is I watched it And I will say this. I thought it was good, and I thought it was fun. I will say, the weird thing is I've watched She-Ra, too. Did you watch She-Ra on Netflix?
I've never checked in with She-Ra.
She-Ra is really good, because that ends up being a complete love story. Because in She-Ra, it's rewritten that She-Ra is on the bad guy's side.
Oh.
And she was raised with the bad guys, and it turns out that the evil guys knew she was She-Ra and kidnapped her and were trying to raise her. And then when she discovers who she really is, she switches sides, and her best friend Catra then has to become her main enemy. But they're in love. So it's the thing of where these two lesbian lovers are now like the leaders of the opposing armies. And so that's this whole entire thing. And that one, it's like girl power. And that one, it's all like girl power, and it's very much written for girls. Where this He-Man, I feel I think it's a little bit trickier. Where I'm like, I feel they're in a weird way, they're still going for the nostalgic audience of the boys that used to watch it, but so many of the boys that used to watch He-Man are now incels. And they did not like the idea that I thought this was going to be He-Man, and He-Man dies in the first episode.
Right. Also, though, so many of the boys that grew up with He-Man are not incels. They're
gay.
What we call
Faggots.
adults. Yeah, and some of them are gay. So, like, to answer the question, who is this He-Man written for?
Us.
It's written for adults.
Yes. It's definitely for adults, where She-Ra's more for kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, is these dudes can't get over... and this is the thing, is where it's the people like, I don't know if you ever you listen to like Jordan Peterson or any of these.
No, oh God.
Or what's this, Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
The men are under
the
attack.
Angry men.
And toxic masculinity is
the
a
persecuted
myth,
men.
We're feminizing male culture. And all
we're
of this
so under
stuff,
attack.
It's like, okay, are you telling me that there's no male superhero shows anymore? There's a million of them. Like, shut the fuck up. Just because, the fact that it's Teela and not He-Man is the fact that it's angering them so much. You're like, get over it.
The whole straight white male story with a very prescribed idea of what heroism and masculinity. Do you know what this is like? That's like a particular song. And we spent decades listening to that song over and over and over and over. And then one day we decided to put other songs on, listen to other music, diversify what we take in artistically. And the creators of that old song are like, why does everyone hate our song? It's not that we hate your song. Nobody hates your song. No one's attacking your song. We just want to listen to other songs too. You know what I mean?
And
so shut the fuck up.
If you're talking about cis white straight men, clearly that song was the Dave Matthews Band. What would you say? And I, for one, am so glad that we don't have to listen to that song anymore. What would you say?
Oh, God. There were some bands in the 90s that... Blues Traveler is one. Do you know what I'm doing, EvilJeff? Speaking of songs, I'm building a playlist on Spotify that is one song each from Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time.
My friend is going through each album from 500 to number 1.
Oh my God. Well, I'm
like
kind of doing that.
He's like 100 through right now.
Oh my God. We're the same. Yeah, I'm like giving each one a brief listen, just going by like songs I like, songs that have the most listens, songs that are written up critically in Rolling Stone, and just picking one. Like, I know I can switch out a song if I want, if I decided I chose the wrong one.
Yeah.
But there is no choosing the wrong one. But it's such a great exercise in
exploring something
about
new.
Music I don't exploring, revisiting my favorites, and
discovering
building
something.
a Spotify playlist that I can share with my friends that people will never get sick of.
Yeah.
I will never get sick of.
Also discovering something where you're like, oh, I don't like that kind of music. I'm not going to listen to it. And then you're like, no, wait, I'm going to listen to this.
No, wait.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, it's fantastic. I see how it's good.
I just moved into a new place, and I bought and I have like a little music room now where I bought a piano, but I also bought a record player. And my rule now is for the records, I can only buy albums where I love the whole album. Because you always have
good
favorite
luck.
songs, you have favorite artists, but it's a very different thing to be like, I love this whole album. You know what I mean?
What are some of your albums that you love the whole album?
PJ Harvey's To Bring You My Love.
wow.
Stereolab's Audio Mars Quintet. I found out a lot of it is from the late 90s when I kind of discovered music. Bjork's Post Homogeneous and debut, all three of them. What's the more recent? I got the Immaculate Collection by Madonna.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a fun thing of me being like, I have to like every song on this album for me to buy it. It's a fun thing.
Some of my albums like that are Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Oh, that's great. I should get that too.
The Downward Spiral. Mm-hmm. Again, 90s. Although I will throw Sleigh Bells on there. Sleigh Bells' first album. Mm-hmm. I think it was called Treats. Love that. Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor. I'll throw that on there. There's albums from the aughts.
Oh yeah, there's like some Goldfrapp albums I'm gonna get, some Freeze Pop albums. Yeah, so yeah, it's a fun thing. Music. But this show isn't about music, it's about comics.
No, it's not.
And we're
That's
done
right.
talking
That's
about
right.
comics.
We are, clearly. We ventured into music. By the way, this is where we announce our spin-off podcast where Brett and EvilJeff will talk about their favorite albums of all time.
But that's
It's called Album Queers.
Done
Legacy.
by our variants, as you listened to in the last episode.
That's right. Oh, what fun. All right, my friend. Until next week.
I bid you adieu.
I bid you adieu, and everyone else, until next week. And remember, if you read comics, there's a reason you're listening to this show. Because if you read comics, well, then that makes you queer. Bye.
Bye.
Damn.